Every action has a reaction because we have to understand what we're doing to cause the consequence. See, everything happened for a reason, but the reason that's being presented is because we made the decision for ourselves. See, oftentimes we get so caught up in life, caught up in the journey, caught up in the process. We don't understand that every reaction that comes about us is because we took the action for us. See, I didn't understand that action build reactions because of, I'm thinking it's just one side. I'm thinking when you do something bad, that's when reactions show up. But in hindsight, whether it's good or bad, both have consequences. I had to learn the actions that I'm taking today, there's a reaction that's waiting for me to walk into. See, me understanding that the reaction is coming, but it's coming when I least expect it, shows me how much I have to be dedicated to my craft. Enforces the work ethic that I have to keep developing. Yet it taught me that just because I think I'm good, just because I'm doing good things, just because I'm on the right path, doesn't mean there's no reaction that's going to come from this. See, what I've learned from Carly Russell is that we all have a choice, we all have a decision, and we have to be firm on the choices that we're making for ourselves. We have to stick to what we're doing, because if we're not stick to what we're doing, we're not doing it for ourselves. And when I learned to really watch the news is going all over the place because the story didn't align. The story didn't align. So every action has a reaction because we make our mind up to make the decision for ourselves. When I learned the action that I was taking for myself was building a reaction, was building a outcome, was building a consequence, I began to understand that I have to take the small actions today. Because every action has a reaction that show me that your effort is not going to go unnoticed. It might go unnoticed because we're not paying attention to it. Because I wasn't paying attention, I wasn't even aware of it. Yet it taught me just because I'm doing something, just because I'm making videos today, doesn't mean nothing's going to come from this. Every action has a reaction. We just have to understand that it takes time for this reaction to be displayed. What's going on, everybody? My name is Terrell with the Humphrey, and welcome to another episode of Failure is Knowledge. Here at Failure is Knowledge, we speak on how you can grow into the best version of yourself by learning and overcoming hard times, tough times, and times that you wouldn't expect it. So before we dive in, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like, and wait till the end and leave a comment, because we diving deep on how every action has a reaction. And the first point I want to hit on is the law of cause and effect. Because I'm making videos, the effect is that I'm able to be more confident within myself. Because I start making videos, I'm able to see how better I'm getting. Because I'm making videos, I'm able to progress as I'm continuing along my journey. See, every action has a reaction because the reaction is being discovered the more we keep going. One thing I've learned from watching the news is that just because we do something we don't think is bad, but there's always a consequence at the end. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's teaching us and it's showing us the path that we're on. The path that we are on, the path that I am on, is to change my life. It's to help others believe in themselves, but to understand what marketing and business really is. See, I can't do that if I'm not learning myself. I can't do that if I'm not taking action to learn what business, what marketing, what sales, what communication is. I can't do that if I'm not believing in myself. I can't do that if I'm not taking risks, taking action, and believing in everything that I'm not seeing. Why? Because every action has a reaction. We just have to be prepared for what's coming for us. See, when I understood that just because I'm not seeing no outcome today doesn't mean the outcome is not going to be present. Just because I'm not seeing the outcome today doesn't mean the outcome is going to be present. Why? Because I had to learn how to stop being so hard on myself. When I made my mind up to start making videos, the videos were getting developed because I had to believe what I was saying made sense. What I was going through and experience made sense because it taught me experience is the best teacher, because I have to try to learn and learn to grow. That's the thing about actions, that the actions that you're taking today, there is a reaction that's waiting for you. When I started making videos in 2020, the reaction was me getting better over time. The reaction was me perfecting my craft. The reaction was me getting better at communicating. Yet I didn't understand the skills that I needed to develop to become the person that can handle all this growth. And every action has a reaction because Just because I wasn't doing nothing bad doesn't mean a reaction wasn't coming. What I've learned from Cardi, it was over 15.4 million people that saw her story, that prayed for her, that just really hoped the best for her. And yet oftentimes the best is in others because we don't see it within ourselves. And even though the story went the way that it went, it taught me that every action has a reaction. When it's bad, the reaction comes quicker than we expect. And when it's good, it takes a little bit longer. So now I have to learn how to become patient within myself. I have to learn to stop judging myself and not saying like, dang, I'm doing so much work. I made so many videos. Just because I made so many videos, why can't I see the reaction? Why can't I see the growth? Why can't I see the consequence? See, consequence is not biased. It's not one-sided to good or bad. Every action has a reaction because we make a decision in our minds to go forth with that. See, Carly made up her mind to go forth with that decision. So her reaction was 2 misdemeanors. We can't fault the action because the steps was already taken. That's when I've learned the steps that I'm taking for myself is really valuable because I'm taking it one step at a time, and every step is building upon each other. It's building upon the last one because I'm not stopping with myself. I'm not stopping with myself, and the reason why that story is so important to realize is because every action has a reaction. We just can't see the reward and the success when we want to. And it taught me, okay, just because you're not seeing it today doesn't mean it's not gonna come. Just because it's not present today doesn't mean it won't be present next week. I didn't understand that the growth in the journey would teach you and show you why patience is important. See, patience is important because you have to understand and be willing to go through the journey to recognize the law of cause and effect. See, just because I started doesn't mean the effect is not happening. Just because I put myself in uncomfortable positions doesn't mean the effect isn't being displayed. Just because I got uncomfortable and started making videos doesn't mean that the effect is not shown. See, just because when I've learned, because I did this is going to happen. Because you do this, that happened. Cause and effect, law of cause and effect is saying your actions today has a reaction. And the reaction is the effect that you was expecting and or wasn't expecting. See, when I learned that the actions that I'm taking every single day is great because I'm on the right path, the path is showing me what patience coming to effect. Just because the effects that I'm waiting on, the effects that I'm thinking that can come into my life hasn't came to me yet. Have they really? Have they really not come to you yet? What if they did? What if they have came that just came when I wasn't expecting it? See, that's when I learned that the journey is very rewarding if you stay consistent with your journey. If you stay consistent with yourself, if you stay consistent with the process. See, the law of cause and effect is saying just because you stay consistent, the effect is going to be, I'm going to be more confident within myself. The effect is going to be, I know how to communicate better. The effect is going to be is that I know I have a daily routine within myself. See, I didn't know that the law and cause and effect came from me taking actions because the reaction was waiting to be displayed. When I learned that, I understood that I'm on the right path. I began to give myself grace and patience because the patience developed more over time. The next point I want to hit on is consequences of choices. It's consequences of choices, and it's so amazing how both of them points align with one another. Just because of when we make a decision for ourselves, there's a consequence waiting towards the end. I remember when I was younger and when I started riding bikes. As I was riding bikes, I wasn't great at it. I remember falling over a couple times and hurting myself. As I'm hurting myself, it taught me that just because I took the action to ride the bike to learn it doesn't mean that the consequence is not going to come when I least expect it. See, the consequence is either me falling or either me riding it. Either way, something's going to happen. I can't bypass the consequence because the consequence is going to teach me if I did it good or if I did it bad. If I did it good or if I did it bad. And the reason why the consequences of choices comes from the decisions that we make for ourselves is saying that Every day when you think of doing something, every day when I thought of doing videos and recording and making content, I had to understand the consequences is going to be displayed when I least expect it. Why? Because consistency builds. Consistency builds work ethic. Consistency builds routine. Consistency builds discipline. And yet the consequence when we showing, the consequence that I learned from making that choice is that if I stop along my journey, I can't learn to grow into this person. I can't learn to grow into this success because the success is showing me why it's so great. Why it's so great? Because of the choices that I made for myself. Consequences of choices is saying I have a decision to make here and now. As I'm making this decision, is it for me or will it be against me? Either way, it's going to show you, okay, you made the right decision or you made a bad decision. You made a right decision or you made a bad one. It's not biased. It doesn't lean towards the bad just because it's bad. No, it leans towards whatever is going to be presented. It's kind of like the way we think. We're always thinking negative, so negative things is happening in our lives. What happened when we start thinking positive about ourselves and everything that we've been through? That's when we start to grow and develop more into ourselves because we shift what we think of ourselves. We shift what we can control of how we're behaving. The actions that we're taking today is a result of the discipline that we have. The actions that we're taking today is a result of the discipline that we have. I can't be consistent with making videos if I'm stopping when it get hard. I can't be consistent making content when the content is so confusing to me because I don't know who I am. See, every action has a reaction because I have to start with myself. What action am I taking for myself to present the reaction to learn more about it? Not only learn more about it, but how did I do? Right? That every action has a reaction because the reaction is the lesson that's going to help us grow. Consequences of choices is saying whatever decision you make, whatever decision you decide to go with, just know something's going to happen. Just know there's going to be consequence towards this action. Why? Because we have to understand the steps and the actions that we take for ourselves. A reaction is going to come from this. The law of cause and effect is saying just because I make videos, the effect is I'm able to empower so many people. Because I'm consistent, the effect is that I know myself. Cause and effect. What is the reasoning behind it and what is the effect? When I saw that 15.4 million people saw Carly's story, it was so mind-boggling to me that 15.4 million people saw that. Because we all had empathy. We all reached out in a way to where something wasn't there. The action has already been done. The reaction was us coming together as one and just praying for the best. And see, here's the thing about every action has a reaction. We decide what we're going to do. So we can't judge ourselves when a reaction is showing us the consequence. We can't be so hard on ourselves because we was the ones that did this. When I learned that I was the one that made my mind up to make content, I had to be so kind on myself to grow into my success, to grow into my consistency, to grow into my journey, just because of the reactions that was being displayed. Even when I'm off camera, I have to learn how to communicate properly every single day. The action is practice. The reaction is growth. The action is practice. The reaction is growth. Why? Because if I'm not practicing and learning more about myself, I can't be the best version because the consequences of me stopping was saying, now I got to start all the way over. Now I got to start all the way over and figure this out because I don't know how to be consistent. Every action has a reaction because the reaction is displaying the consequences. That's why it's so important to believe in everything that we're doing. Yes, the story went left. Yes, the story wasn't true. But the story was mind-boggling because it even happened. The action was the story. The action was what took place. The reaction was 15.4 million watching it, million people watching it and viewing it and coming and leaving reviews down below or comments down below. Every action has a reaction. The reaction is the consequences that we wasn't expecting. And before I get to the next point, there's a book called Master Your Mind, 10 Tips to Shift Your Mindset. And there's a book that will help you learn from other people's experiences, precisely mine, because of what I've learned. When we go through pain, we're not the only ones dealing with tough times. We're not the only ones dealing with times that we wasn't expecting. And it would show us and teach us how to repurpose our pain into our passion. So if you'd like to get that book, the link will be in the description below. Click the link, get the book, and read it. And make sure you leave a review on how it opened your eyes up. And the last point I want to hit on is that it creates patterns in life. Every action has a reaction that's creating patterns for ourselves. Patterns is like a habit. What are we doing on a consistent basis? What are we doing on a daily basis? What are we doing day by day, week by week, month by month, week by week? Year by year. And what are we doing? I didn't understand the patterns being developed within myself because I kept being consistent. Yet consistency showed me that the reaction was consistency showed me the action from the reaction was me taking daily action. Was me doing it every single day to learn more about myself. Was me doing it every single day to become a better communicator. See, every action has a reaction because it's preparing us to become better within ourselves. But the pattern is being developed because we don't quit on ourselves. I don't quit on myself because I have to learn how to be consistent with myself. I have to be consistent for myself. And when I've learned that, it showed me that your pattern is being developed. Your pattern is being developed because I'm making a decision to do it every single day. Not only is the pattern being developed, the routine is being established. Because once I have a routine, I understand what I need to do at a certain time, a certain day, a certain point. Why? Because every action has a reaction. The reaction is displaying the consequence, and the consequence is showing the pattern that's being instilled within me. And when I've learned that I can't necessarily be so hard on myself, because as I'm hard on myself, I'm bypassing the lessons that's here right in front of me. Yet the lessons that's here in front of me is showing me that it's okay to be the person that you are today. Every action has a reaction because the reactions are preparing me to grow. And it's preparing me to grow into the consequences from the decisions that I made to begin with. I can't become great if I don't understand what greatness is. I can't believe if I never believed in myself. I can't grow if I never took that first action. Because the reaction is saying, when I start, I'm going to get better. When I start, I'm going to be consistent. When I start, I'm going to learn. When I start, I'm going to grow. When I start, I'm going to be better. When I start, I'm going to be the best version of myself that I can be. Every action has a reaction because we have to decide to push through hard times, because hard times is going to make us the person that we are today. Because I took the first action, because I took that first step, it showed me that the effect was consistency. And once I began to become consistent within myself, the consequences of my choices was saying, now you're developing routine. And as I'm developing the routine is establishing because I do it every single day. And as I'm doing it every single day, that's when the patterns get displayed and brought up because of how I'm able to handle myself. And see, I learned that I had to be willing to fail. And once I fail, understand that there's always going to be a consequence that's there. The consequence is going to either teach me a lesson, is going to either congratulate me on how far in the group. Every action has a reaction because we have to learn how to take the first step in order to learn more and grow into ourselves and grow into our success and grow into our pattern. Patterns doesn't get built overnight. It takes 21 days to develop a routine. It takes 21 days to develop a habit, because once it's developed within yourself, that's when you grow into your success. That's when I started to begin to grow into my success, because of the pattern that's already been established. The only way that the routine can be broken is if we stop. And it takes 21 days to stop a pattern. So either way, good or bad, we have to decide what route we're willing to take. I have to learn that the route that I'm taking for myself is for the better. So whatever's coming, whatever consequences being presented, it's coming because I didn't stop. It's coming in a good manner because I'm growing to myself. And the action is me starting, and the reaction is me being consistent. That's why learning that every action, it has a reaction, will show us the power of keep going. We can't stop when it get hard, because when it get hard, we lose the belief within ourselves. And the belief come and goes because we are deciding for it to go and or come, because that's the way we're thinking. That's the way we're believing. And I understood that. That's when I learned actions always have reactions. Either it's going to be a good reaction or it's going to be a bad reaction. It just all depends on how we're operating and thinking to control the narrative for ourselves, to believe and grow into our success. And if you got value, before we end the video, if you got value from this and you would love to learn more about who you are becoming, in the link in the description below, there will be a link on a workbook, 10 ways to start workbook. How it would be great for you to learn more about yourself. If you would like that workbook, click the link in the description. Click the link in the description, and I appreciate it. So, and also, if you'd like to learn more videos on how to personally grow and develop for yourself, click this link down right here to watch more videos.